right, pleased to be joined on the Ray and Darren Hockey Podcast by Tony Granato, who has a number of different labels that we could bring him into the show with today, Ray. Right at the top of the list, of course, head coach of the Wisconsin Badgers. Would second then be the brother-in-law to the great Ray Ferraro? And then, or would second be the older brother of the great Cammy Granato?
I think
older brother.
Ray. I'd go with Ray.
Yeah, I think you're full of it right off the hop, Tony. I think you're full of it. So you're just off a workout. You never really slow down, do you? Like, when's the last time you sat for 30 minutes and did nothing?
Ray, I would say that I might have got that from you, but no, we got our kids are in town. They had a 7:30 Friday mornings. They get their 7:30 competition workout going. So I come down early with them just to let them know that the coaches care about them and say hello to them. And then I send them off because I can't keep up with them anymore. So I do my own little thing.
What's a competition workout?
They pair up and then they do some sort of sprint races, and then every week it changes. But our strength and conditioning coach, we got a new one this year, Paul Valukas. He was with the LA Kings minor league team in Ontario. He just got on board, and he's carrying over what Jimmy Snyder, who had our program for the last 14 years, has done every Friday in the summer. They have a 7:30 beginning start to a competition workout. So it's a good way to start the weekend. They're done after this workout for the weekend. Nice. So there's lots of noise going on, loud music, a little bit of energy down there. And like I say, I get out of their way once they get going.
Now, how when the kids are in and out through the summer, like, do you have them there, or some there full time, or some there in and out? What are you able to do in the bylaws of what college coaches?
Yeah, unfortunately for us, and especially so many guys, and this year's unique because same as last year, there's no development camp for our players. Most summers in a regular summer, 15 to 20 of our guys are getting ready for their development camps or World Junior tryout camps. So they come here, they train, they're allowed to work out with our strength and conditioning coach. They're allowed to go on the ice as much as they want. So basically they're doing a captain's practice, but they got unlimited ice. We got the facility, it's theirs. They are able to use it at any time. So it's a great place to train and get ready for not only next season, but like I said, the camps that they may have in the summer.
Yeah, you mentioned 15 to 20 going to development camps. Certainly one of the most noteworthy Wisconsin Badgers right now is Cole Caufield with the Montreal Canadiens. He's just injected energy, life, skill into the Canadiens lineup. Are you surprised?
No, I'm not surprised. What he put into it this year to be ready for the opportunity, you always watch a kid and you see how and what he does to be ready. And from my standpoint, he finished last year the leading scorer in the Big Ten. That's extremely hard to do, and I don't know if it's ever been done for a freshman to walk in and lead the league in scoring. But at the end of the year, Montreal, and Cole had a conversation, and Montreal thought, you're not quite ready. You got to go back and do some things to make sure you're ready to play in the NHL. And from that day of that conversation with Montreal, he put a list down of things that he thought he needed to improve on. He asked for my opinion. He asked for Rob Ramage's opinion, who's real big into their player development side of things. And I can tell you right now, every day he probably looked at it and said, am I doing this? Am I getting better at this? Am I polishing my game in these areas? So when I do leave Wisconsin, I can have a chance to be ready to play in Montreal. So I got to tell you, from a coach's perspective, I admire the kid because, the hard conversation that he had with Burge last year at the end of the year saying, hey, I need you to go back to school. He didn't pout. He didn't come in here hanging his head. He came in here on a mission to do exactly what was asked of him, and went in the Hobie Baker, winning a gold medal there in Canada with the U.S. team at Christmas as one of the leaders, realizing that every time he touches the puck, he doesn't have to try to score a goal. There's plays to be made to help your team. There's plays to be made to make your teammates better. And if you watch the plays that he's made in the playoffs, he's using his teammates maybe as well as anyone on that team. And that to me is really exciting. And as a 20-year-old player, to be able to come in there and recognize when Toffoli, is coming through the slot and he's going to open up where to slide the puck to, how to fake the goalie for a second or freeze the goalie for a second before you do make that pass. Like these are players that they're plays that players that are usually 10 or 12 years in the league, it takes them to figure out how to do. And he's already been able to jump into competitiveness of the playoffs and be able to execute the way he has is exciting for me to watch. But I watched it all year. I knew he'd be ready to give whatever he had, and fortunately, he's been given that opportunity.
Tony, you mentioned his playmaking. I've seen him at 2 World Juniors. Of course, we don't get to watch him daily like you do. I don't remember him making plays like this, even just as recently as January. It's like it's taken something different. He's taken another step with it.
Agree, Ray, totally. And that goes back to the one of the check things was, how do you make your teammates better? How do you use your teammates to help them help you? And that 2-on-0 breakaway he had with Suzuki in the last round, when he had the chance last year, 100 out of 100 times he would have shot the puck in the net and the game would have been over. This year he realized, heck, I got a teammate coming. I'll slow down a little bit. I'll freeze the goalie. I'll slide it over, and we'll win that way. That way both of us have part of this goal. I think that's just been his mentality in the last little while, is figuring that part of the game out. And again, when you're a goal scorer, and Ray, you were a great goal scorer, but you also move the puck. So you kind of had the combination of both. But lots of great goal scorers are just goal scorers. Give me the puck. I'm going to shoot it. Cole was like that last year. He wanted the puck. He knew he could score. He knew if he gave it to somebody else, they wouldn't have as good a chance to score. Now he's realized, like I said, how to use his teammates. He's able to identify who has a better chance than him maybe in certain situations to shoot it, and that's what I think elevates him to his understanding of the game, his understanding on how to become a more complete player is certainly impressed me all the way along the last 2 years. And what he's done in the playoffs, I guess, hasn't surprised me, just because I continue to say the work and time he's put in to be ready.
You've been in Wisconsin now a number of years. You coached in the NHL for almost a decade, I guess. Man, it was crazy how fast it went. What have you noticed the biggest change maybe from coaching in the NHL? Now you're coaching in such an established big program in Wisconsin. The kids coming in, what they see and what they get when they leave.
Yeah, here's the thing. I was thinking about this because I figured you'd ask some sort of question like that. And
they're that predictable, eh?
I am. I know you pretty well, believe it or not. But the one thing that I really, sometimes you get labeled with a certain thing. Let's just go Cole. Cole's a goal scorer. He's going to be a goal scorer. That's just what he is. No, he's not. He's a complete player. He's gonna be a guy that can make plays when the game's on the line and use his teammates. So I think when you label a guy sometimes, and in the NHL we did a lot. One of the labels I remember is, this kid's not coachable, just not coachable. And what I've learned here, a kid could come in and it could be extremely hard to get your message through to that player, but it doesn't mean he's uncoachable. And if you give him time and patience and you find different ways of explaining your message, at some point, it might not be as quick as you'd like it to be understood, but at some point, if you are doing a good job as a coach, you can make them become coachable. So I think that's certain things, labels that you get players when they get to NHL. Throw that label on a guy and it sticks with him his whole career. But I think if you got the right people around him and the right coach, and you identify what the areas are that you need to improve on into that player. Most players are coachable. Let's face it. They want to play. They want to be on the ice. To be on the ice, you have to do what the coach wants. That's being coachable. So I think that's probably the biggest thing that I've kind of taught myself, is when you're down on a player because he's not, picking up what you're trying to teach, be patient, find a different way maybe to communicate it. And if you're persistent enough, I think that player can come around and gain whatever skills or whatever ideas you're trying to have them understand.
From your first to last game, you played with incredible energy, tenaciousness. Now, your first game didn't quite go as well as maybe you dreamed.
I disagree. I think it went
that's exactly how you wanted it to go.
I got on the ice. They put me on the ice, and at the end of the game, my bag wasn't packed with an airplane ticket to the minors, so I got a second game out of it. Yeah, I was pretty happy with it.
Okay, so you get to Chicago, though, your first game in Chicago.
Yeah.
Now, tell us a little bit about, of course I know the story, but tell us a little bit how that went.
Well, I grew up, fortunately enough, to get a chance to see quite a few games in the old stadium. And as a little kid, the anthem's going and you're standing up screaming like all the rest of the whatever thousands of people are for the anthem to get the Blackhawks all fired up to play. Well, my first game was in Chicago Stadium as an opponent with the Rangers, and I'm shaking, and the noise and the energy, and it brought back all the memories of me with my brothers and sisters and parents and grandparents and friends, sitting up in those stands. Now I'm on the ice. So I had, I never really had a problem getting energy for games, but that one put me over the top. And my first shift on the ice was a change on the fly, and I can't remember who I changed for, but puck was behind Chicago's net. Doug Wilson passes it up to Steve Larmer on the boards. And when I jump over the boards, I see exactly where the pass is going. It's going up the weak side of the net to Larmer. So I skate beeline from the bench to Larmer in probably 1.5 seconds. I get there. And Larms turns his back to try to protect the puck about 6 feet from the boards. And Larms goes head first into the boards pretty hard. So I get a major. And back then, though, that was good, though, because you didn't get thrown out automatically. So I just got a major. But the bad part is L. Secord and all of the other Blackhawks that recognized that Larmer's teeth weren't in his mouth anymore after I hit him. They wanted to get me back after that. So I, at the end of the game, I ended up having a major for boarding, a major for fighting, 2 black guy with that I could barely see out of, and a 2-2 tie. Remember, we tied. So I survived it.
Man, that is one stat line in for your first game,
isn't it? The NHL in penalties after the first game. It was awesome.
Tone, you went, you rookie of the year, had a big start in New York. You end up getting traded out to Los Angeles. And,
Brian Leetch, rookie of the year. Let's correct that.
Oh, Leetchy won rookie of the year.
Yes. Yeah, wow. There's no one touching Leetchy there.
No, man. Yeah. Wow, what a player. I would say he was the best, most talented guy I played with. I just thought he was amazing.
Yeah, I would defenseman, I would agree. His talent, his ability to see the ice, and his mobility back there, for sure. But you played with Gretz. Come on, you can't.
No, I didn't.
Oh, you missed Gretz. Okay.
I got to LA right after he got traded. It's like getting to a New Year's Eve party and the band's already finished playing.
I was there with you for that too. I forgot you came after.
Yeah. Now, when you get to LA though, you end up with Gretz as your roommate. Now, you didn't know him, did you? Or did you know him at all?
I met him the year before with Brian Leetch, ironically enough, that you brought up Leetchy. So we're at the awards ceremony the year before, the year that Leetchy won Rookie of the Year. And me and him are elbowing each other. There's Wayne. And I said, let's go say hi to him. Leetchy's the shyest kid in the world, and he was, especially at 20 years old or whatever he was. And he was a rookie there. And I said, why don't we go get a picture with him? And he goes, all right, let's go. You ask him. And I go, no, you ask him. So we did. We were really shy. We go, hey. And Wayne turns around, and you know what Wayne is. Hey, Brian, great season, man. You're phenomenal to see. It's awesome. Hey, Tony, nice to see you. Great year. And Wayne's making us feel like we're the guys that he wants to see, not we want to see him. And that was what I remember most about it. And we took that picture. I got it up in my office, Brian Leetch, Wayne Gretzky, and myself. And so I did meet him at that time, but we play against him a couple times, and you try to pretend like he's just a different, he's another player, and you're trying to, program yourself that, okay, even if you're on the ice with Wayne, just don't embarrass yourself. Make sure you play him hard enough and respect him enough. And when I was with the Rangers one year, we had a checking wing, Jan Eriksson, one of the best two-way players that I ever played with. And he was the guy that always was given the assignment, okay, we're playing Gretzky tonight, you got him. Well, for some reason, Michel Bergeron, who was my coach, skates around the rink in morning skate, and he goes, you got Gretzky tonight. And he skates away from me. And I what the heck does that mean? I got Gretzky tonight. So I skate back up to him a couple laps later, and I said, what'd you just tell me before, Berge? He goes, wherever Gretzky go, you go. You're on the ice, you're on the ice. And I'm like, I've never been given a defensive responsibility in my life, and you're going to ask me to chase Wayne Gretzky around the rink. So I did that game, and we won the game and went pretty well. Probably held Gretz to 3 or 4 points, and we thought I did a good job. But we won the game, and from that moment forward, what Bruce McNall told me when he called me for the trade, he says, "Hey, remember that game you played against Gretz, last year? That was the game when after the game, Gretz said, 'Hey, you got to get this guy.'" So when I was going to LA and I knew that Wayne Gretzky actually recognized the fact that I was on the ice for the other team, I said, "Wow, how cool is that?" So I I was a little bit, I would say nervous would be the right word for when I found out I was going to be his roommate, but he is the easiest and nicest and best roommate you could ever ask for. You're wondering, okay, what do you do? What do you say to him? All that stuff. And it's just like one of the other guys. He's a phenomenal teammate. He was a guy that, to me, epitomized what a professional athlete should be. And I will always be grateful for those 6.5 years that I had a chance to play, watch, cheer for, admire, and whatever else you want to throw into that same sentence. He was just a treat to be around.
Did you have to, did you guys, I'm assuming like he had to dodge like crowds everywhere. Like, so were you like kind of like the, like the maitre d' of that stuff, or like, what were you doing?
Yeah, he used to come with us. Gretz didn't like going anywhere by himself. So being his roommate and stuff, after games when we go eat, I'd go with him. I was one that wanted to get to bed, earlier than later. And a lot of times after dinner, those guys would sit around for a little bit, and I say, "Hey, Gretz, I got to go back." And he just made sure that Jay was with them or somebody was with them. He liked to, he loved the part about, just the teammate part of being with the boys. And, I'd go back to the room for a little bit, and he'd sneak in the room, and, pretty soon I'd turn the light on. "Hey, Gretz, you can't sleep on." We'd be talking till 3 a.m. about the game. And the other thing I remember about Gretz is the game's over and he could go back to any play in the game and then talk about it. And for me, the game went so fast, at the end of the game, okay, I remember, I think I had a couple shots and, hey, we won. It was a good game, this and that. I remember a few little things about the game. He could remember where my stick was, who the defenseman was, what the options were on the play. And I'm like, Gretz, I was just going to the net for you. I didn't say that. And he's got like a picture perfect view of it. So to me, I guess that's how he processed the game in a way that I wasn't capable of doing. And that's obviously what made him the player that he was, and the ability to see everything that was going on at the same time. And I was just amazed at the detail of how he could remember what happened in the game.
Tony, coaching seemed like a natural transition for you. And Ray brought it up earlier in the podcast. The number of years you spent as a head coach in the NHL or as an assistant coach in the NHL. Why was an NCAA bench the right move for you and the Wisconsin Badgers? Was it the program? Was it about your family? Was it all of the above?
I would say a combination of all the above. I think, I was lucky to work in some great organizations with some great coaches, all that stuff at the NHL level. And then at the time, I was an assistant in Detroit. The position at Wisconsin opened up. The program was struggling a little bit, really, for the first time in since the 70s, where we had back-to-back really poor seasons. And I got a call from the athletic director asking for his opinion on how it could change and get back to the way it was. And we had long discussions about who would be, the replacement. And I thought I had a really good presentation on who that would be. And I thought Donnie, my brother, would be outstanding. I thought Mark Osicki would be outstanding. I thought Mark Johnson would be outstanding. Those are three guys. I said, "Hey, turn the program over to any one of those three.
Yeah.
And you're on your way." And the conversation just kept going on and on and on. And at some point during that conversation, he said, "Why wouldn't you want this position and want to come back to college hockey?" And I said, "Well, first of all," I said, "I'm happy in the position I'm in. And second of all, I wouldn't want to have to interview against my brother or those other two Marks." So, and that's when he made the presentation. "You don't have to interview against them. Why don't you just take these three with you, come in as a full staff, and let's get this thing going again." So when that opportunity was presented, I looked at it completely different. I called Donnie, I called Mark, talked to Linda, my wife, about it. And Madison was always a home for us. Linda's from here. We'd come back here every summer to live. A couple of my children were born here, and it just seemed right. And the other part of it was I was here 83 to 87. My days here were what helped me get ready for a career in professional hockey. So I somewhat, always was connected to the program. Donnie and Robbie both played here as well. My cousin Kevin played here as well. So we had a family tie to it. Mm-hmm. And it just felt like the right thing to do at the time. And the other perk that somewhat, was kind of the last push to do it was Ray's going to laugh because he's not going to believe me on this one, but the degree was something that was lingering out there for me, and I was still a full year short. And when I told Coach Alvarez, I said, hey, I haven't finished my degree. I don't think I can come back and coach. He said, well, why don't you come back, go to school, get your degree, coach, and you can, finally get your degree. And, so that kind of was like, wow, I can become an honest person after kind of stretching the truth to my kids, oh yeah, I'm going to go back to school someday. I'm sure I'm going to get my degree for sure. I've been saying that all along. Well, if I finally was able to buck up and get back into the classroom and finish the degree. So that was kind of an exciting thing for me as well.
Well, I to that point, I mean, I read a great story about, when you were back getting your degree that, you had to go get it. It wasn't like they just gave it to you. You had to go to class. So like, here you are with a bunch of college kids and you're humping around class with your backpack and get to class. Man, it's gotta be something strange to go back to school like that.
I can't tell you how awkward I felt walking in the classroom. And that's the part I remember most. So I get this computer thing. We're on the computer right now. You open your computer up, you do your thing. I walk in, I went to Walgreens or whatever in the morning. I pick up an old fashioned 3-ring notebook thinking that's what you do. I open it up and I look around and everyone else is pulling their computers out of their bags. And I'm writing notes in the old fashioned way, trying to think that I'm going to keep up with these guys. It took me about, I'm going to guess 5-to-1 hours ratio for me to keep up with the pace of what college kids could at that time. But I did. I grinded it out. Like you said, I didn't get handed to me. Once I went to the first class and all of the people in the class realized that some old guy was in there, that if the old guy didn't show up, they would notice. So I was a perfect attendance for the entire, 6 classes I took. And if I didn't go to the class, there's no way I could try to figure it out on my own. So I did it. And it was an experience that I'm proud of. I wouldn't want to have to do it again. But I grinded it out.
I'm gonna let you. We're gonna let you go here on this, Tony. So the last game we ever played against each other, more telling Dregs this story. So because Tony was so
knows this story, just so you know,
Dregs, he was so vicious with his stick that he would drag you into this stuff because I thought I played a little different. So we end up going to the box with slashing penalties because he's almost broken my wrist. And because he got me good. And I said on the way back to the bench, I'll get you back for that. Well, Tony retired, right? And so just circumstance was Tony retired. So a couple of years later, I'm fortunate enough to be marrying Cammie, and we're at the wedding. And I said, see, I got your back.
Yeah, that was
and
good.
He says at the wedding, he's given his speech, a beautiful speech. He said, you thought you got me back? Best of luck to you.
Yeah. That's really good, Ray. If I could, the problem with me trying to get you was if I ever caught you, I wanted to get you really good. So that was probably most of it. You were such an elusive skater and one of those guys that could.
Well, but you were like, oh my, like everything was so everything was right in, and man, right above the cuff, and I was like, that I will get you back for that. And then now what? We're 57 years old. What are we going to do now?
That's good stuff. Well, Dregs, I'm glad Ray let you chime in for a question there. And
it's good. That is my bad. I should have let Dregs in.
No.
It's good to see you, Tony, and we'll see you back in Chicago in August. Looking forward to seeing the family.
Sounds good. You guys enjoy the playoffs. Love the show. You guys have been more than entertaining. Got some great guests on there, and I'm honored to have been part of your show today.
Awesome. Appreciate
Go finish
it,
your workout, Tony.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, man.
Take care.
See ya.